shouldn't when we do, in fact, recognize that silence is indeed golden. That's a statement for a reason. It has existed for years. Why? Because it shows us the discipline it takes to be patient. Patience is a virtue, and it's patience which leads us to today's parallel, Kwame Brown. Now, this is a 2021 story of when the rabbit got the gun. What a story that this has been in recent weeks. I've had a lot of fun watching and observing where the chips have all fallen. I believe it's fair to say it's important we don't let this one pass us by as merely a hot, trendy topic. Today's parallel of patience in turmoil is an important life skill, often exemplified throughout time. Now, as they say, time heals all wounds. What they fail to mention is that there are people in the world who get a kick out of constantly picking at your wounds. That is until you turn around and give them the response that they were asking for. Kwame Brown is a modern day cautionary tale of those who choose violence against those who prefer silence, and how sometimes the strength patience gives you cannot be understated. Now, for those of you who are sitting there wondering, Coleman, what on earth are you talking about? Or perhaps maybe you've come across the phrase mama's cooking, and perhaps maybe you thought this Kwame guy is a Ghanaian American chef. But I can indeed tell you that Kwame Brown is a former professional basketball player. And he was the number one pick in 2001 for the Washington Wizards, selected by none other than Michael Jordan. Kwame Brown was picked straight out of high school basketball. He skipped college basketball completely and went straight into the NBA. Naturally, this became a highly scrutinized pick. A young teenager plucked straight out of high school, selected by arguably the greatest NBA player of all time. Naturally, it comes with pressure. If you had the chance to watch that Netflix documentary on the NBA career of the great Michael Jordan, it's fair to say Michael wasn't an easy teammate. And unfortunately for the young NBA draft pick, many in the media didn't make it easy for him either. His NBA performances were often criticized. Throughout his career, some broadcasters questioned his continued presence in the league, and in some cases, even the amount of money he was making. Now, whatever you think about Kwame Brown's NBA career, listen, I'm a sports fan. I love my boxing. I love my football. I like NBA, but it's not my strong point. So I hold judgment. But irrespective of whatever you think about his NBA career, he had been a silent sufferer of what seemed to be a very intense narrative. He was criticized for things in and outside his NBA career. This continued well into his retirement. And if you let Kwame tell it, he feels there was a wider agenda as to why he was so heavily ridiculed. Perception around the name Kwame Brown certainly wasn't favorable, and Kwame had had enough of the negativity surrounding his name. In 2021, he finally broke his silence, serving up his mother's cooking, or mama's cooking.
Now y'all go out here and sprinkle some of my mama's cooking. Go get the content, sprinkle the cooking.
And if you took note of how he approached the situation, it's clear to see that Kwame Brown, although he was silent, he certainly was no dummy. He very cleverly and directly started to bite back at his critics. His approach, it has to be said though, was very brash, but it did show remarkable awareness. And you could see it stunned his former detractors' faces. You could almost read the dumbfoundedness written on their faces. Now, having said that, we have to be honest about Kwame Brown and what he was up against. He was up against some real huge powerhouses in the world of broadcasting. They represented some of the biggest networks in sports entertainment and radio. He was certainly a David against a few Goliaths. But so far, as of today, it does look like he's come out clean and on top. But we do have to kind of shift away from the parallel of patience today and look at another loose parallel that's kind of surrounding Kwame. How does a man who arguably has an expansive mind, even if you do disagree with his presentation, I can understand. It was very brash, it was very direct, and it was very, very profane. But how did his perception become so misinterpreted, misrepresented for over 20 years? Now, the answer to that question is simple. It's modern media. Modern media are experts at taking the creature we have affectionately learned to call human being and turning it in our minds into a simple at handle, or even worse, just a headline. Then the media defines this newfound creature with narratives true or probably false, and we naively consume them as the creature's personality traits. And in worst cases, the traits become the creature's entire existence. Now, the poor creature is in real trouble the moment modern media decides to attribute a hashtag next to the creature's @handle or headline, i.e. @Kwame Brown, hashtag bust. Truth is, I'm not telling you anything you don't already know. We all recognize it, but if we're honest, subconsciously, while recognizing it in play, we willingly allow ourselves to be tricked into the circus. So while we can identify modern media as culprits, we must also look at ourselves. Searching for trending memes on Twitter to repost certainly doesn't help our imperfect but beloved creature. Black Mirror hated in the nation is another loose parallel to Kwame Brown's story. But in today's parallel, what we're going to be talking about is about a man I've come across in history called Enrico Dandolo, who, like Kwame Brown's detractors, his perpetrators also chose violence. And they did regret it. Now, back in the period of the Middle Ages, Enrico Dandolo was a man whom the Republic of Venice had appointed to negotiate the peaceful release of Venetians from the Byzantines. Now, at the time, the Byzantines were certainly the big guys on the block. They had seized the goods of some Venetians and then further imprisoned them. Enrico's first attempt at liberation was under a previous leader, called a Doge actually. However, this was a failure and actually led to his leader's death. He was killed by an angry mob. Enrico then tried his own attempts at liberation when he was elected the Doge, but he went the diplomatic route. However, this also failed. Now, it has been argued in history that Enrico Dandolo, in trying to negotiate with the Byzantines, was met with violence, which actually led to him being blinded. Now, it's clear to see, after being left blinded, that the Byzantines at this point had clearly chosen violence. Anyway, after numerous failed attempts of trying to engage with the Byzantines, a blind Enrico Dandolo returned to Venice. Now, he mobilized an army for over 20 plus years. And 20 plus years later, Enrico Dandolo, blind and at the age of 90, he led the Fourth Crusade to Constantinople, conquering the city. The mighty Constantinople was conquered by the blind Enrico Dandolo, who showed the Byzantines the true cost of violence. These people had hurt him and his people so greatly over 20 years before. Now, for 20 plus years, Kwame Brown remained silent in observation. But clearly, judging by his responses in 2021, we can say one big difference that exists between Enrico and Kwame is that Kwame Brown certainly was not blind. Not one single day. He was very aware of what was going on around him and chose silence for whatever personal reasons. Now, where Enrico and Kwame do share parallels is patience. Their patience afforded them perspectives. Their observations gave them an advantage, and time gave them strength. So next time you choose to send or reply to that passive-aggressive email from insert annoying colleague, ask yourself, silence or violence? A better time to strike may soon present itself. Well, thanks guys for watching, and your feedback will be greatly appreciated. I do really appreciate the fact that you guys take the time to stop and observe what parallels we come up with. In creating the show, I took some of the things I like most in life, combining my love for life and its lessons, what I call R&P, research and procrastination, old cartoons like DBZ, Boondocks and South Park, and voila. Hopefully we can R&P together. Please subscribe to the channel and join me on upcoming live streams where I intend to interact with you guys, yes, you guys in real time. This show is nothing without you guys. It's all about sharing what we discover on Google and other websites, not while you're in incognito mode, however. Seriously though, your involvement is critical for upcoming topics. If you have any suggestions on things you'd like to add or anything I've missed, please get involved in the comments or check out the description for contact details, socials and all that other good stuff. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Hit that notification bell. Apparently that's very important around here, and I will see you guys next time.
How tall are you? Dress size. And how much did you weigh the last time you weighed yourself?